Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Finally, we're back in the swing of things, and we're doing a bit of a catch-up with this one. As you can see from the title, this is our review on Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, which is the eagerly awaited spin-off to the Fast and Furious franchise, a franchise that I am I'd say I'm a newcomer to it, like as of Fast 8, but I'm definitely a fan of this franchise now. And we certainly have a lot to say on this film, because this might be... You know what? This might be the most over-the-top movie I've seen all year and will see all year. But yeah, so as you can see, we're still testing out this new live streaming software that we've got, StreamYard. So let's kick off with all the stuff that we've got. So if you want to follow us on Facebook, you can look at the bottom of the screen now and see our Facebook link, or Twitter, they're cinema_savvy, and Instagram also at cinema_savvy. And we're rocking the split screen like Hobbs and Shaw themselves from the beginning of the movie. So how are you doing tonight, George?
I'm doing well. It's the first time I've done this stream thing, so it's so weird not being on like Google Hangouts.
And like from the thing, you look a lot shorter than me, so I guess we have a kind of Hobbs and Shaw thing going on.
That's what I thought. Like I did think I was like, should I like lean further back like this and try and match? I was like, I'm gonna do my normal pose of just like leaning forwards to the camera, but I think in real life I think Tate's the smallest of us. Is he?
Yeah.
I think
by a long way, yeah.
Than you than me. So this was, I think, the first ever. I know this is so off topic, but the first ever time I met Tate, he texted me like just a bit of a weird one. How like tall are you? And I was like, that's a very fucking sorry language. That's a very odd question to ask. And and obviously I was about to meet in 5 minutes time. I was like, if anyone knows what football is, Santi. I said I'm like Santi Cazorla size. He was like a 5'2" Arsenal player. And Tate genuinely thought I was this really small person. So when he come off the train to meet me, I was about a foot taller than him, and he did not expect that at all, which was a bit of a weird one, quite funny. But if this is like Hobbs and Shaw, we've got the split screen going on, which was a random part of it, which I just thought was like a trailer thing, but no, it was in the actual film. Quickly, Fast and Furious. I know you're a bit of a newcomer.
Mm-hmm.
I think safe to have record. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a humongous fan, because I do very much enjoy them. I'm a fan. I know exactly what they are, and I know how to watch them, how to appreciate them, and how to laugh at them. I think you're in the same window.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've seen the first one I ever saw at the cinema was the fourth one, which is like 2009. I think these are like, anyone in England knows ITV2. 1, 2, and 3 were on like repeat for years before. So, God, that's 10 years ago now. I've been watching these films for over. Who would have thought? These little streetcar racing films back in the day, stealing TVs and cameras, would have evolved into saving the world at least 4 times.
Well, this is a good segue as ever, because I'm going to read out the plot synopsis for this movie in case anyone doesn't know what Hobbs and Shaw is about. By the way, you're in for an absolute treat. This movie series has gone the way of Saints Row, and kind of in a way, if anyone's played those video games, I'm very okay with that. Like, people keep joking, saying like we're going to see the Fast and Furious family in space. Believe me. Next movie, if they went to space, I believe it. If they're riding around on the moon in like little moon buggies, like I'm there for it. But you mentioned like the first one, like it was a streetcar racing film. I think like the end mission, your end climax of the movie is stealing a bunch of DVD players out of the back of a truck. And then we get to this movie. So the plot synopsis: lawman Luke Hobbs and outcast Deckard Shaw form an unlikely alliance when a cyber-genetically enhanced villain threatens the future of humanity. These are the stakes we have now, folks. I realize that I've still got Instagram up. I need to get rid of this. This is still a learning thing. But I mean, that just says it all right there. You know exactly what kind of movie you're getting into. If you even watch the trailer, you know what this movie is going to be. You know it's the most over-the-top action I've seen in a long while. Some of the worst CGI I've seen in a while. But again, you're cool with it because you know exactly what you're getting in for. And I guess that's sort of like my review of it in a nutshell. It's the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. But kind of like Expendables 2, you're just having a riot watching it, and the dynamic between Hobbs and Shaw themselves, The Rock and Jason Statham, like that was great in all the other movies. It's like ramped up to 11 in this movie.
I think I texted you when I saw it at the cinema, like just the credit scene. I didn't know how many there's going to bloody be. It's like, this is the most insane, glorious thing I've seen so far this year, because it is so ridiculous. It's perfect. And I say this every time I have a discussion with someone about Fast and Furious. I will never know who told me this, and it stuck with me for life. To Vin Diesel, the Fast and Furious saga is Shakespeare. To The Rock, it's just a load of good shit that he loves doing. That is the epitome of the Fast and Furious films. the best way to go into these is thinking, how on earth, like every time you watch, I'm trying to think how can they outdo the last one? Like, I mean, I'm guessing a bit biased. You have a director you like the Justice. I've got like Nolan. Whenever, like, I'm so intrigued to see what the next Nolan films, because I just want to see what he does. That's that kind of question you always have after a release, and it's the same for many of the directors, many series. How are they going to up that? You get the Fast and Furious films, and Mission Impossible, the best term. How are they going to do something better than what they just did? And they've gone from like Burj Khalifa. They've done everything. They've done the water underwater for like 3-4 minutes, whatever it was. Fast and Furious, holding on the side of an airplane. They just outdo themselves every film with real stunts. You get to Fast and Furious, like, how much more ludicrous can they make it? And I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but there is a moment in this film where there's a helicopter and a chain and a car underneath pulling onto it, which is fine. Then another car comes in front and the helicopter pulls away. I mean, we're not going to...
Spoiler alert, by the way, guys.
Yeah, this is a minor spoiler. I'm not going to give specific plot details of who's in what, but there's another moment where the next car, the helicopter's pulling the car up, so another car attaches itself to the car in front. Before you know it, there are 4 cars attached to each other with a helicopter and a chain, pulling them all up in the sky. And what happens next? How can you possibly get more ridiculous than that? The chain falls off and The Rock grabs it with one hand and grabs the 4 cars in his other hand, and he manages to pull them together.
It's the Captain America shot. It's the Winter Soldier shot where
exactly what I was going to say. It's like, you could believe Captain America doing that. I had never laughed so much in a long time at a cinema. That's like my entire thoughts on Hobbs and Shaw. It's just ridiculously beautiful.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? So we're going up against the villain in this, played by Idris Elba, who's this, as I mentioned in the synopsis, this cybernetically enhanced human. He's the referred to as the Black Superman, and he essentially is. He sort of has this, when he goes into combat, he has like this Terminator vision with like the screen, and it's almost like a combination of that and I guess like Robert Downey Jr.'s in Sherlock, where like the discombobulate thing where he can like, predict everyone's moves and everything like that. So he's got this going on, and this is meant to be like this brand new thing, like this tech, like is cybernetically enhanced by this company. But when you've got The Rock jumping off a skyscraper, landing on a guy who's rappelling down the skyscraper and running down it, and then like free falling through a glass ceiling onto a car, which dents the top of the car, and then he just gets up and rolls off, and he hasn't even got like a scratch on him. Whereas this is like essentially a superhero movie. This is almost like a Marvel superhero film with all the crazy shit that these guys are doing in this movie.
They've reached that level. I mean, to jump back to, was it 8 or 7? I can't remember which one now. There was a tank on a mountain, and Vin Diesel got hit by a car. Use it as a spring salt to catch the person in midair above a valley.
Oh, yeah.
Car on the other side, and it's just things like that is just so ridiculous. And it's so hard because you keep going back to, because we can't sit here and think, well, here's a beautiful analysis of the soundtrack, the cinematography, this, that, the other. This isn't that kind of film. We both know what we're going in to watch these for. It's just like, Expendables 2 is the perfect description what you mentioned, and that's what you're going in because you want to see The Rock fighting people. You want to see Jason Statham. You want to see them arguing, and you just want to see something stupid. And at a time where it's been fair to say this has not been a brilliant year of cinema so far, granted, this isn't cinema as such. This is, you're going to have a good time because you'd rather watch something like this than something pretending to be something better than what it is.
Mm. Well, here's the thing as well. Like, everyone complains, like, well, not even complains, but like brings up the point of this movie being like over the top, the most over the top one. And you know what? I'll take that. It probably is, but this isn't like this has automatically happened with this movie, with this spin-off. Like, this has been something that's been building since, I'd probably say 4. Like, with 4, you had like this when they were going underneath the tunnels and everything like that, and it was like all CGI and looked like a video game. I didn't like 4 all that much, really. 5, you had them dragging the safe behind them through the town, and I know that some of that was practical, but then 6, you had the never-ending runway. 7, you had them launching cars out of skyscrapers into another skyscraper. 8, you had them taking down a Russian submarine and like, with nuclear codes that's going to destroy the world. So this has been something that's building. So to me, this didn't feel like too much of a stretch into the ridiculous, because this has been something that's gradually been built all over these, like, over 10 years or however long it's been. since the movies have come out. So I'm completely fine with this. Like the next one, go as ridiculous as you want. But I'd say the most ridiculous thing that's come out of this whole thing is have you seen the is it Ludacris?
Yeah.
Have you seen his videos of him crying about how The Rock has broken up family?
No, was that ludicrous? I thought that was
Was it? I think it was.
Oh God, I've had a bit of
no, it was Tyrese. Sorry,
yeah, because
Tyrese.
When
brilliant, yeah.
So for those who want a bit backstory, so The Rock saved the Fast and Furious franchise. It's very fair to say, and Universal's wanted a spin-off for quite a while. They've said now The Rock wanted to do a spin-off for quite a while, as has Mr. Statham.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, The Rock's an absolute powerhouse now.
Yeah,
he's like his draw.
He doesn't need the Fast and Furious films as much as they don't need him anymore. That's fair to say. They're both in their own right massive, and they're both connected. And when they announced this spin-off, it made sense. And obviously, there were rumors that Vin Diesel fell out of The Rock big time on Fast 8. That he refused to film with him, which I think is bloody amazing, and that's as hilarious as the films because of this spin-off. And then I think it was Tyrese V's like, they've delayed Fast 9 a year because of this. He's taking all of our money. And I was kind of there like, it wasn't so like, I know this sounds, I don't want this to sound as disrespectful as this is probably going to come across. It was only a couple of years ago where they were saying like how it's because of what happened to Paul Walker, how it is about family, it's not about money. Then here you had Tyrese like a year later, like, I've been delayed a paycheck by a year. And I was like, mate, like, you've already got enough money. You did the Transformers films. You've done these films. I think you did some music once a while ago. He's still going to be rich. And I just thought it was, when these territories were coming out, it's hilarious. And none of them have come out to moan about this film, which I think is very interesting. We know that The Rock's not going to be in Fast 9, but we know that Mr. John Cena, another ex-WWE person using them to get a big name, which I think will help him big time if it comes off right. That's going to be interesting. But you know what you're going to get. Like, I think the other thing to say with these films, right? 9 films in, because this is in theory, I know it's a spin-off, but it's the 9th one. If you go into this cinema or you want to watch this, and if you don't know 9 films in what to expect, you only have yourself to blame. And we know that Tate's not a fan of these, and Tate's very open, and they're not my films. And that's absolutely fine. That's the right way of doing it. But if someone was going to come into the 9th film and be like, where's the writing at? Like, you've come to the wrong screen.
That's like you're barking up the wrong tree if that's what you're coming into these movies for.
And yeah, and I think that's, I mean, I know it doesn't really feel like we're like talking about this film, but there's
nothing.
There's so little to say. Like, we've done the biggest stunt thing. Like, it's as ridiculous as you want. The green screen in the background of some locations was hilarious. Specifically, I mean, I know I used to be the wrestling on the channel, but one of the wrestlers, Roman Reigns, who in theory is related to The Rock, has a cameo in. I say cameo in this. He's in all the Hawaii scenes. He's basically the front row of all the extras for the entirety of the film, which is really funny to laugh at because he stands out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. And in the fight scene, it was all a part of just for him to get like a 15-second fight teaming up with The Rock because they know they can never do it in WWE because The Rock won't come back. Mm-hmm. That's as ridiculous as it's going to go. I don't know what more can be said. It's such a weird thing because me and you both like these and we know what we're going to get, but we know we can't sit here and give an hour spoiler discussion like we can do on some things.
No, we've basically said everything you can. And let's be honest, like if anyone like wanted to see this movie by this point, they probably have seen it anyway. The only other thing I'll say that's interesting to note is the amount of money that this movie's made. Now, you know, I think this was ammunition in some of Tyrese's arguments as well. Was saying like, "Oh, look, your movie's bombed. Your movie's bombed. It's made no money." Now it was done on a budget of, let's see here, 200 million. It's currently made 332. So you know, it's probably made profit. I know that it did have quite a big ad campaign, but you compare it to Fast 8, and that went over $1 billion. That was like 1.2 billion. It made an absolutely outrageous amount of money. But then again,
it's a spin-off.
It's Fast and Furious. Exactly. This is a spin-off, and I know they kind of like coined the Fast and Furious name with Fast and Furious Presents, but it's a spin-off. It is fundamentally different. It's not going to make as much. And I was looking at another Dwayne Johnson film, Rampage, that made 428 million. And, you know, that had a lot more destruction in with like big monsters. So maybe that was a draw in some way. So I can see this movie sort of averaging around that kind of money by the time.
Yeah, I think with the Fast films as well, like financially wise, they like creeped up. So I think I'm just looking at a quick chart. Fast 4 made 300 mil, Fast 5, 600, Fast 6, 780, Fast 7. Now, this was, without saying that, this was the the Paul Walker film. That made 1.5 billion, which no one ever saw coming. And it's big in these films are big internationally. Then Fast 8 still made, like I said, 1.2 billion. So I think it's had its peak, and I think it's going to slowly drop each one. Now, obviously, this is a spin-off. I don't see this getting. I mean, it's probably going to have this weekend's numbers, maybe, but I don't see this getting past 600. But then again, not Baywatch. Why was it called Baywatch? Jumanji 2 made 940 million. No one ever saw that coming, and that had legs.
Star Wars as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That came out the same week as Star Wars, and Greatest Showman made 940 million. There is no big blockbusters coming out now. I think, well, I'm probably wrong. There's nothing big coming up at all off the top of my head.
No, we're back end of August. I think Lion King was probably the last hurrah. Yeah, I mean, we've got Tarantino, but it's not going to be like a blockbuster as such. Yeah, no, I think you're right. No more superhero films until The Joker, but that's more low scale. Yeah,
I can see this, like Lion King, getting a decent amount each week for another couple of weeks at least. So it's financially, they're going to get their money back. It's got The Rock in it, man. Like it makes a lot of money everywhere he goes. So I am, I'm excited to see Fast 9. Just to see the kick off this. Now, the other thing this film does, in theory, I guess this is a spoiler, there are 2 cameos. So if you don't care, I mean, actually, The Rock's already tweeted, though. Everyone knows now that Ryan Reynolds is in this film. I don't see that coming.
Yeah, he's like, he has become one with himself now. Ryan Reynolds is dead.
He is Deadpool in this film in a suit. And it works. Like, it was funny. And I'm guessing, well, they kind of confirmed a Hobbs and Shaw 2 right in the credit scene.
I was going to say the stuff in the film towards the end and the credits scene that could, well, I think it's setting up for specifically a Hobbs and Shaw 2, but it's stuff that could bleed into a Fast 9 if they wanted to, or into the main franchise.
I see Ryan Reynolds coming back.
Same.
I also see Dinkle coming back.
Yeah.
Also, Kevin Hart.
I'm fine with
weirdest cameo of the year. Fun cameo. Weird one. But again, like that's when you know it's a film The Rock, because Kevin Hart's just going to appear. Ryan Reynolds is just going to appear. They're not for Jason Statham. Like, as much as I love Jason Statham, if his mates were going to appear, you get an Expendables 4, which we probably will get at some point, knowing Sylvester Stallone's shooting schedule, because we've got Rambo 5 and Rocky 7 to 40 now. But no, Hobbs and Shaw, it's a weird one. I'm not going to say I recommend this. You've, like what you said, you've probably seen it by now. You know what you're going to get. If you want to switch your brain off and watch something ridiculous for 2 hours, you're going to have a fun time. If you're looking for an artistic merit film, then I suggest you wait. We know the new Tarantino film's out this week, which is going to be a big one. Maybe that's probably not even for you guys if you're not into the art thing, because the Tarantino film's got a very specific audience, I guess we could say, right?
That's like my personal reward for getting through the shitstorm of really bad summer movies we've had in 2019. That's going to be like, and there's your Tarantino film. There's your nice little Tarantino film. Well done. Congratulations. But I mean, this movie, it's got Idris Elba, a cybernetically enhanced Idris Elba riding a Transformer. Like,
yes, I didn't get to discuss that. I thought of you in
that was like the coolest thing in the whole movie.
I'm convinced at one point in the film, I think it's in the helicopters moments, I'm convinced the sound effect is used.
Oh, it probably is. Yeah.
But I thought that because when I was like, holy shit, I was like, forget like Fast and Furious has done Transformers. I think because at the point of that chase, that was the wildest thing they'd done, and then you get to the helicopter and the 4 cars and the Rock holding them together. But
that's the point where the movie becomes a live action adaptation of Moana.
And then if that hasn't made you excited enough, for all you Zack Snyder fans out there, the final fight scene is fully done in super slow motion every time a punch lands.
In dark, in the rain.
In dark, in the rain, super slow-mo, #release the Snyder Cut, all of that jazz, mate. That is in that film for the Zack Snyder fans. There's something in there for everyone.
It becomes a video game. It's like press triangle to counter Idris Elba, now press square to land the counter-attack. It's just like, it was great. I mean, the director, like, really quickly, this is like my summary, like, David Leitch, like, he's a competent director. The guy's worked, like, on the John Wick films, like, he knows his way around action films. He's done Atomic Blonde, he's done Deadpool 2, he moves on to this, and it is more of the same kind of stuff. I think my favorite action in the movie was more the grounded fisticuffs kind of stuff. And then there's moments where the whole screen is CGI and it looks like shit. But you know you're in for that kind of movie, and you can kind of forgive movies like this. It does clock in at about 2 hours 10, I think, somewhere up there. I did think the movie ran out of steam a little bit towards the end. I think they could have maybe trimmed it down to maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45. Got it in under a neat 2 hours, I think would have been better for this movie to tighten the pacing up. And the most obnoxious amount of mid and post credit scenes I've ever seen in my life. They were shotgunned all over the ending credits of this thing.
They must have been filmed quite late, right? I mean, I'm not going to say the spoiler for those that didn't watch Game of Thrones season 8, but Ryan Reynolds just outright just spoiled it.
Yeah.
And I just laughed because at this point, no one really cares, and everyone that cares has seen it. But I just kind of sat there like, to be fair to them, the ball's on them to drop the Game of Thrones season 8 spoilers on a Universal film related to nothing. I thought was absolutely brilliant. And I left the cinema at that point. Apparently, there was more credit scenes because I thought that was the credit scene.
About 4, 5, 6, God knows how. It was like, I chalk it up to they basically took all the deleted scenes and all the outtakes and like all the improvisational moments from Ryan Reynolds and other characters, and just like, instead of saving them for the DVD, they just put them all throughout the mid credits. It was got a bit too much, but it's fine. I'm probably never going to watch this movie again. But sometimes you just need a movie like this. You just need those movies. I guess it's kind of like you with the Transformers films, but you sort of like apologetically look.
I didn't have the history that you had to Transformers. So
that's fair.
Transformers for me have been in the same vein as Fast and Furious for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Had I have grown up with the Transformers, what it was that many people agree with, I would definitely have a different opinion on that. But to me, they're in that bracket with themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you know what you're getting in for. Like that's it. That's basically been our review repeated in a nutshell. Go and watch it if you want to watch something stupid, or if you like The Rock, if you like Jason Statham, if you like dumb action, just go and see this. It's so standard, but you get to see The Rock pull down a helicopter with a chain. Like, who doesn't want to see that? So I guess that'll do it for our review. Now we are seeing some actual like films this week. So both of us are thinking about going to see, obviously, like at separate cinemas, but Apocalypse Now is getting a 40th anniversary 4K restoration, the final cut. That is going to be screened for us on Tuesday. We're very interested in seeing that, so hopefully we can get a review out to you guys for that. I've only seen the theatrical cut. I've never seen the Redux, and you haven't even seen Apocalypse Now yet, so that should be a very interesting review. And we've also, as we mentioned, we've got the new Tarantino film this week, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I don't think we're going to announce it so much yet in terms of times and dates and everything like that, but we are going to try and get onto the filmography retrospectives with particular directors. And considering it's Tarantino, that is probably going to be our next one in the next coming week sometime. So once again, because I've got to milk this for all it's worth, follow us on Facebook at Cinema Savvy. Follow us on Twitter at cinema_savvy, and also exactly the same for Instagram. We are going to try and ramp up the content a lot more now. We did have a period where like all three of us were kind of bombing off doing our own thing. But now we've got this new streaming software. We've got a lot of new show ideas. We're planning and formulating things. We should be back to hitting our stride how we used to be. So that will do it for us. And until the next stream, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.